Fosi Audio takes a giant leap with their first all-in-one headphone source, the SK02 desktop DAC headphone amplifier. Fosi Audio is currently taking the speaker amp world by storm with its range of extremely affordable high-powered D-class amps. But can they do the same in the headphone world? Let's take a look at their first serious DAC amp combo, the SK02, which goes live today. The first thing to note is the all-aluminium alloy chassis. It shares its fundamental housing design with its sibling, the SK01. The main human interface is the single full aluminium alloy multifunctional knob. At the far end of the unit are two buttons, a gain toggle and an input mode toggle between USB and optical. The SK02 has a 3.5mm phone out and a balanced 4.4mm out on the front, and on the rear you will find USB input for power and digital connection, optical input, and a 3.5mm auxiliary out. And finally on the bottom, two flat rubber feet keep your furniture scratch-free. Aside from the gain and input mode toggle buttons, the multifunctional knob is the main way to control this device. To turn it on and off, simply hold the knob down for 3 seconds. Clicking the knob once will pause your music stream, and double-clicking will mute the internal DAC. The knob is the main digital volume control for the internal DAC of the unit. As such, it does not take control of your system volume. The benefit of this is that taking control and lowering system volume can have a small detrimental effect on the sound quality, so this takes that problem out of the equation. Also, this is much more user-friendly for people who deal with multiple sources like me. There will never be a chance of lowering the system volume and forgetting to push it back up to maximum for your other devices. For analog fans, the digital knob does come with a learning curve. There is of course no way to know what volume the unit is set to, as the knob will spin infinitely in both directions. In the past few weeks there were a few moments switching between sources and different headphones when the SK02 was pushing out too much volume, so after a few ear-punishing moments I quickly learned to crank the volume down all the way, which is just a matter of spinning it a few times anti-clockwise before plugging in a new headphone or listening to music. At this price point, a volume display would be a lot to ask for, so I'm on the fence about criticizing this too harshly. Either way, there will be a small learning curve for people who have only used analog controls in the past. The gain button toggles between low gain, which puts out 85mW at 32 ohms for the 35mm, and 333mW for the balanced output, and high gain, which puts out 267mW at 32 ohms and 1.062 watts on the 44mm balanced output. The SK02 is designed to be used with more modern headphones from a range of 16 to 300 ohms, so maybe don't go plugging in your 50-year-old AKG studio headphones. For most users, this range is more than enough and covers almost all bases. Both the gain and input mode buttons have annotated orange indicator lights. There are more orange lights for the PCM and DSD sample rate indicators too. It's nice to see Fosi Audio fully embracing this design language, as orange accents are also to be found on their other products. It's a small thing, but this is the kind of attention to detail that I appreciate. The only exceptions are the power light, which is green, and above that the volume indicator light, which flashes purple depending on the output volume. If this light is constant and not flashing, the volume is set extremely high and caution should be taken before plugging in headphones. If, for example, you're using the SK2 as a DAC for another amplifier, you will use the 3.5mm auxiliary output to feed that amplifier. However, the SK02 is not a pure DAC, so the most logical next step for most will be to set the output volume to maximum for the auxiliary out. This is the double-edged sword, as this is the only way to get the maximum DAC output to another amplifier, but also does not prevent the user from plugging in a headphone and getting a nasty explosive surprise on the front end. So if you're planning on frequently using multiple sources, it's a good idea to pay attention to the volume indicator. I've made a habit of unplugging headphones after every use and always turning the volume down before listening. Equipped with an ESS 90382QM chip, the SK02 can handle PCM decoding up to 32-bit at a sample rate of 384,000 Hz. This unit is able to push out sample rates way beyond human cognitive comprehension and is functionally at the peak of decoding technology. At no point did I feel that I was getting anything less than a perfectly neutral, high-resolution audio experience. The other benefit of a highly digital device is that on full volume, there was absolutely zero hissing or humming or electrical interference. It has one of the absolute cleanest, blackest backgrounds you will ever hear. From my point of view, this unit guarantees uncontaminated audio. I tested this with my very sensitive JVC HAFX 1800 IEMs on full volume out of the 4.4mm balanced output, and there wasn't even a hint of a hiss. I even tested it playing an audio sample of pure silence just to make sure I was forcing an output. While the SK02 was not designed as a pure DAC, I've been using it about 50-50 as a headphone amp and as a DAC, with it plugged into my Fosi Audio SK01 preamp and headphone amp for two reasons. Firstly, it puts out a perfectly clean signal on maximum auxiliary output and behaves as a DAC without producing excess heat or consuming huge amounts of power. Secondly, this combination has been a great source and preamp for my Stax SRM313 electrostatic amplifier. Electrostatic amps are more sensitive than most to even the tiniest hints of audio signal contamination, so this is one of the cheapest and most effective ways I can think to provide a clean, high-fidelity source and good tone control, in combination with the SK01, of course, which many electrostatic headphones do require. Overall, this little DAC amp combo leaves little to be desired. If anything, I think I might be becoming a bit of a digital control convert and evangelist. If the competent maximum output of 1 watt on balanced, or the perfectly black background does not convince you, just remember, this thing is practically portable, takes up very little desk space, and only requires the 5-volt USB connection to run. The only thing I can see that might be missing for some nerds is a 6.3mm socket. Otherwise, it's just been a joy to use and listen to music with. Here are some of my other relevant fuzzy audio videos for your enjoyment. And if that's not your cup of tea, check out the rest of my channel for headphone reviews. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.